And now, the world's favorite E-grade team, the Beans!
Welcome everyone to the NBeanA podcast. What's good? Beans. You know the drill.
We're beans.
You get it. Thanks, Brad. That's the drill. Episode's over.
You know,
Yep, you know the usual suspects, the starting five, the Beans, your favourite E-grade basketball team. We've got Connor Hoetzel. aka Bam is a god. See, I'm recording, so wherever I point is going to be right for the people that are watching. Not you, dickhead. Bam is a god.
Yeah,
and you got Lockie Davies, aka Jiggling for Joker. You got
Lob to Levine.
Brett.
This kid.
He finished that
This
half an hour ago.
kid.
He's about to press the start
Honestly, he's
recording.
been waiting. You got Bradley Scanlon, aka Lee Brad James, and you've got Marcus Smarty, who is better than Goran Dragic, also known as Mitch Watson. And
The dumbest, aka the dumbest bean.
Whoa.
I don't know. There was a pretty big
I don't
consensus
think
that you
so.
were a spaghetti brain. That was pretty.
That is a pretty big form of heresy considering how much fucking smart I was.
Calm down.
How much
We'll get to
smart
it.
I
How
was.
much smart I was. Oh my! Whose idea was it to have fucking spaghetti man
invited this
here?
You are more smart than everyone, and don't let anyone.
Don't let anybody tell you why's other. Don't ever. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to why Connor's not smart, but
Connor's like,
First off,
will we?
let's just say that's the third time we've had to do the intro because this episode is cursed. So if there's any more technical problems during this
You're gonna see
episode,
it.
don't be shocked. Because honestly,
Tonight's
we
phenomenal.
have had no luck tonight. It's taken us
Struggle.
45 minutes to start the episode,
Struggle Street.
but we're here, and that's what matters. Everyone's here.
We're here for you.
Everyone's
For you.
For me, that's
you
so
and
kind.
We're live, bitch.
Honestly, that's so kind.
Peter
Anyway.
Pipe, Peter Pipe, Pear.
Peter Piper picked peppers.
Great. Wow.
All right, this week we're talking about Clips versus Nugs. We're talking about Heats versus Celtics. We're talking about Nugs versus Lakers. We're talking about the All-NBA team. And we're talking about the MVP. So, lots to talk
Spoiler
about.
alert, it's Brad.
Yeah, pretty much. MVP of the Beans.
LeBron James. Stop.
We should give out awards.
The
We
only
should
one with a consistent jump shot.
put it up on Instagram and say, who do you think gets MVP of the Beans for the first 10 episodes? Not
True.
Herzl. Herzl's
I'm
not an
gonna
option.
win that. I will
Anyone
win
who
that.
votes
man.
Herzl is out. Their vote doesn't count. It's null and void. Herzl, do you want to take it away on Clips versus Nugs?
So, anyone who's listening to this podcast probably knows just how it ended. The Clippers versus the Nuggets. And that ended with a big fat shit in the Clippers bed. Huge. You know how big Kawhi Leonard's hands are? You know how big Kawhi Leonard's hands are? That big.
That's a
Like a man ran down for how big his hands are. That's how big this
It's
shit
like
in the bed
36
was. The Clippers
inches. That's a
laid.
big boy.
Yeah, that's a
That's
massive
fucked.
man.
Yeah, and it was a massive shit in the bed. They absolutely
They screwed the
sucked in
pooch,
Game
didn't they?
7. They were up 3-1, and I don't think it's safe to assume that a 3-1 lead is safe anymore, considering how many times it's happened in the last few years. There was 2 in 2016, then 2 in 2020. It's not as safe as it once was.
I think I saw a video on it, and it was JJ Redick and Steve Nash on their podcast and on JJ Redick's podcast, and he said that the momentum change is massive when it becomes a 3-1 lead, purely because like one team's playing for their life, like in that final series, and the other one's sort of a bit lackadaisy because they're sort of think they're home in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy how much it's happened since Brad's team screwed the pooch.
Well, it wasn't even them that did it first, though. It was
No.
they
OKC.
unscrewed the pooch.
Yeah,
They did it to OKC first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was funny because Brad attempted it in the worst time.
I was gonna say.
but it now ends up being almost a warning to like the Lakers, for example.
Yeah.
playing them next after that happening twice,
Yeah,
it's sort of a
You've gotta
lesson
finish the
almost
job, yeah.
definitely.
for them to not sit back, because like both their last series against Trailblazers and then Rockets, both times they lost game 1, and I think when you watch them play those games, both times they were a little bit backed off, a little bit more reserved, because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll be fine, like we've got no problems here, and then they realize that there is a problem, and they're like, fuck, we should probably kick it into gear a bit. But they kind of like went into this knowing that they did have to go a bit harder starting it off, so that they've got that advantage over this team that's fucking
With that,
steamrolling.
just on that though, I think they proved themselves after the Jazz series.
Yeah.
I definitely think that was sort of when people went,
Oh,
we actually
100%.
need to take these guys a bit serious. I just think Clippers aren't as good as we all thought they were going to be.
No,
Yeah, like what's going to happen to Doc Rivers after this season? Do you reckon?
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Has
I
to
don't know if
be.
he will be,
but-
but he's
He's pretty woven into Clippers now, but
they'll have to change
Yeah.
something.
how long's he been there? 7 years, something like that.
7 years
Yeah.
and hasn't done a
Hasn't-
heap.
no,
with it.
and I think today, not today, sorry, was it Game 7 was yesterday? Or
Yeah.
a couple of days
Yeah,
ago,
2
whatever.
days ago.
A few days ago, yeah.
I think it just shows how much they relied on Kawhi. Like they were sort of
Yeah.
labeling it as a super team, blah blah blah, but it was really Kawhi, wasn't it?
it's
Yeah.
Kawhi.
Like it could have been. They had the power to be a massive super team. But
Clippers, like when you
Yeah.
look at it now, and let's compare this year's Clippers to last year's Raptors. It's
Yeah.
almost a downgrade. Like
yeah, right.
you look at it, Spicy P's probably I'd prefer to have him on my team than Paul George. I know that's
Coming off last year,
out there.
I don't know if I'd say that, but this
Yeah.
year, 100%.
Well,
this
just
year,
this
yeah.
playoffs alone, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
at
last
least-
year, what was Paul George was like
Yeah.
second MVP, second in Depot,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, and
He
I'd
was
prefer to have
really good last year.
I'd prefer to have Lowry over whatever they're giving me at guard, like
Beverly.
Yeah,
Clippers.
what, Pat
Or
Bevel,
Ty- or-
Lou Will.
Lou Will. I'd prefer to have him over that as well. And then
Yeah, right.
then your backups again. You're going into your Serge Ibaka's and stuff. I want them over Montrezl Harrell. Like
Yeah, 100%.
It's just-
Definitely.
so, did he really make the right move? And you've got to, if you're a Raptors fan, you're like licking your lips at this
Gonna
because
say.
they showed the bed. It was
They shut the bed.
They shut the bed.
Massively.
And they gave up
Pandemic P, baby.
all
woeful.
the first 3 of the Nuggets wins. They came from more than 15 points down in this series.
Yeah, in that last game,
I don't
it was-
remember what
it
they
was-
did.
I think
last
they
game.
got up. I think they were down. Like Nuggets were down at like 17 or 18 at one point.
there's
And
almost
we
20.
we said in the group chat, like we're like, oh geez, like you wouldn't want to get much further out than this. But then again, we've also seen them come back, and the next thing you know,
Yeah, they were playing.
Jokic just goes off. Jamal Murray just goes off, and
I think it's like the ultimate strategy of the Denver Nuggets is whip that ball around as quick as possible for
Yeah.
as long as possible, make everyone run, and then the first half of the game might not look too great. You might be
Yeah.
down 20, but progressively fatigue's going to set in for the other team. You're whipping the ball around. You're not actually running. You're just making them move with the ball movement. Then by the end of the game, they've got rid of all this energy, and then you've got this almost fresh, maybe not Jokic, but you've got a pretty much a
Yeah.
fresh team.
and with
Compared
that as
to-
well, I think having so many good playmakers and arguably one of the best playmakers at the center position of all time. I think with that, just when you're moving the ball around that quickly, you just get so many options.
Yeah.
And you get people choosing the better option as opposed to the selfish play. And that's also just another thing, just comparative between the Clippers and the Nuggets, was you could tell that the Clippers, like they were a super team, but it was more just a heap of good players grouped together. Whereas the Nuggets are actually like a team that are playing for each other with heart, and they play team basketball, Like they don't have a Kawhi that's giving you 35 points a night, but they've got Jamal Murray, Jokic, Gary Harris, MPJ. Like they play for each other, and it's just it's so good to see a team showing so much heart and taking it so far, right? Like
Yeah.
really, really good.
And if we want to touch on my player to watch from last week, Gary Harris, who is an absolute pest in that series.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's so much like Marcus Smart in the way of he can impact the game in so many different ways and not
Yeah,
necessarily
both
get a
ends.
statistic in anywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
legit.
and I'm very glad I called that one because
Yeah.
it followed through a little bit. And
You know what
let's
I'm
hope it-
very glad I called on? The only bean to call the Nuggets moving up. Big brain up in here.
Big
I don't
Wayne
think you're
Baldwin.
allowed to
Big
say
brain.
big brain when you've got a Chicago Bulls court behind.
Big
you.
brain.
Nah, that was a great call by you, Lockie.
It was. Proud of you, Lockie.
Very good call.
But yeah,
Good job.
do we think they're going to blow it up?
Oh, what do you mean by
I don't
blow
see
it
them-
up?
Like just get rid of pieces, or do you think they'll just rebuild the supporting cast and keep Kawhi and PG?
I think there's a few people. I think the way you can look at it is you keep Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. You get rid of Lou Will while he's still a high price. He was in the running for, 6 man. You could get a high price-ish for him. You've got they've dug themselves a hole. They don't really have draft picks to pair with anything anymore.
Yeah, that's a
right.
problem.
Oh,
They gave up
Everything.
5 draft picks, was it? And
5
they
first
got
rounders.
4 points from Game 7.
Yeah, it was the 5 first rounders and then some change. Like it was some second rounders in there as well. But it's sort of get rid of the old Patrick Beverley. I just don't see a reason.
Well, they are looking at Derek
Player
Rose,
to watch.
apparently.
Pat
Who
Bev.
was it? I think Shams called it. He called that that Clippers are looking at Derek Rose. And if you can get rid of Patrick Beverley in that deal, and as much as I don't like Patrick Beverley, he does sort of fit in with the Detroit culture.
That's a good call. Good call.
So I think he would look good there. He's obviously not going to give you like any more than like 6 to 10 points a game.
Yeah.
But off the bench on a young team could be helpful for some young guys who need some confidence, because he will just give you confidence because he's up himself. He thinks his team's the best shit, so he'll give you confidence even if it's not warranted.
What do we think the biggest thing they should go after is? Because personally, I think it would be a centre.
A centre, yeah, a big man who can get a board.
Yeah,
Either a centre or like some more reliable backup scoring options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where they miss. They've got all these hustle guys, but no one who can actually put the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
Which is important.
And you can't always be relying on Kawhi and PG because they are so.
Yeah,
Who's
at
that?
least as it shows.
Who's their big man
Yeah,
that
I
I
don't
fucking
know.
despise?
Zubac.
He's shit. Like they could
The man
upgrade
who
him
got
with the majority of centers and it'd be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the most viewed highlight of his will be the one where Chris Paul went through his legs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that'll be his peak.
And I'm looking, so I'm just having a look now. They've got a few players of that supporting cast that could go into free agency. So Morris is one of them.
So she'll go.
Montrez.
Oh,
yeah.
He can fetch a high price now. Like
Exactly. And even one who's one of my favourites is JaMychal Green.
Yeah.
Love him.
I think they'll aim to keep him. But
Yeah, he's just a good little spark plug off the bench. But yeah, I
he's
think
the only guy that looked decent in Game 7.
yeah.
your versatile defender.
He's just consistent as well.
Yeah, he'll give you the same thing every night. Like, you can count on him to do that.
Exactly.
Which
He
is
won't
what
give
they
you
need.
less.
That's what they need as a team.
Yeah.
With a super team with Kawhi and Paul George. They need some guys off the bench who are going to give you the exact same thing every night.
Would you
So
almost even, and if you want to say retain Harrell and go complete, like really commit to a small ball, get him starting, and maybe even go after a higher tier guard, like higher than current Derrick Rose at the moment, someone who you can completely facilitate through, and let Paul George and Kawhi go off ball.
Do we think that because Kawhi is super ball heavy at the moment?
Like if you managed to get the same thing that they've done with Devin Booker in Phoenix, if you could do that for Kawhi and Paul George and bring a Rubio in, a Rondo.
Rondo's got a play option. If they can convince him to leave LA and stay in LA, that's
it's a pretty good pitch. But I reckon that could be super duper beneficial.
You just got to look at like Kawhi's Spurs days and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's quite talented off the ball, and it gives him a lot more energy on the defensive end.
Yeah, when you got a guy like Tony Parker on your team, that's kind of handy.
Makes it easy, doesn't
Kawhi.
it?
Yeah.
I feel like him and Paul George are both so ball heavy.
Yeah.
I can see him doing well off ball, but like I just feel like you got to go after a shooting point guard more than a facilitating point guard.
And after this is like another weird thing that sort of Teeny and I observed in his his shutout press conferences. His attitude was really poor as far as as a winner. Like I just want to play basketball and not want
Yeah.
to do all that. It was just like really, really poor. Like,
He's a bit
do
like
you
that though as well.
do you
When they
really
got-
want to win? Type thing.
When they
Yeah.
got eliminated last year, he was a bit. We're talking about Paul George, yeah?
Yeah.
It was a bad shot. Like we've seen, Dame is not. That is not a bad shot from Dame from that deep.
No, and it hasn't
Yeah,
been for
right.
3 years. Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And so I don't.
it's
Do
very
you
silky
want to
sometimes.
fully commit to him for another year, or is this something you can get an elite, point guard to run with Kawhi, or an elite big to get with Kawhi?
What do you reckon it would take to
Yeah.
get Kemba out of Boston? Because maybe
I have a feeling
Kemba-
he'll stay, man.
if he wasn't hurt, like he's a bit injury prone. Like,
His price might be a bit low at the moment for a
No,
Paul
but-
George, but
But he's having fun, man. Like he's enjoying
Yeah.
himself, and I think that's a big thing when you're enjoying yourself and you're winning. I think that's
but
what,
someone like Kemba would be good for the Clippers.
Yeah.
But it would take
Yeah.
a lot to get him out of there.
yeah.
If they had some draft picks, maybe it'd be a bit easier, but they don't.
No dice.
even if you brought it, like you look back on the trade and they could have kept, Shea and
That was when that happened.
Yeah,
That was the first thing
rough.
I said. Like you would have loved to have kept Shea. You'd give him up for PG, but you'd love to keep him. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm not sure if you
He's
would.
someone you want on your team.
And it's they were looking at this is 2 or 3 months ago they were looking at Darren Collison to be their starting point guard for that, who is a really good
yeah.
facilitator, and
Yeah.
that's what they were going after, and in the playoffs that's what they missed more than anything was that facilitator to when Paul George and Kawhi shoot themselves in the foot, like
Yeah.
who is it to keep
'cause,
them
like,
going?
Yeah.
Even like obviously he can get assist numbers, but like when you've got the ball in your hands that much, like Kawhi will get you'll get assist numbers,
Mhm.
but he doesn't create options for other players.
No,
He just yeah.
Just had a big brain moment.
Uh-oh,
Okay,
yeah.
hear me out.
Here we go.
It's a guy that Doc Rivers has coached before, a very good point guard, who is known to be available this offseason.
I know who it is.
Who is it, Brad?
CP3.
Yes, it's CP3.
CP3. Let's go.
Imagine if
He's-
CP3 goes back to Clippers.
Fuck.
It's
that
not
is the one
unlikely
thing-
if they got rid of Doc, because that seemed to be the issue in the end, especially with the Austin Rivers
That would be insane.
dilemma. If they got rid of Doc, if they had a choice, Doc Rivers, Chris Paul, Doc Rivers won't even get
Doc
like a
Rivers is
second
gone.
shot.
Yeah,
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 he's
he's
Chris
gone.
Paul a bit
I
more
reckon
money
they're
because you
like-
make him a player coach. So you give him the
Yeah.
coach's salary and his, and bang.
Easy peasy.
That must be
Done.
very enticing for Chris Paul. That sounds Connor, big brain.
Big brain.
That's a great call.
You can see, I'm sure people are going to watch this. You're going to see the
But see
moment when I
Connor's
had
cogs turning.
Oh, hang on a second.
Chinny, can you edit a light bulb behind his head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ding.
It's like when he
Had an idea.
put LeBron in at fucking point guard
Yeah.
in the all
all
all team lineup.
Yeah.
Big brain.
Big blames.
Big brain.
Big brain.
Thinks he's
So-
a genius. He's actually a spaghetti brain.
It's embarrassing.
Who's cooking spaghetti?
Speaking of spaghetti,
Ah,
should we
spaghetti.
move
I
on
can
to
hear
the
spaghetti.
Heat
I can
versus the
smell
Celtics?
spaghetti.
Well, should we
Should we-
keep on the Nugs train and go into the next series?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well, yeah.
Yep.
Are we ready to talk about
So,
it?
well, we've only had that one game.
I've gone
Yeah.
red like straight
As of-
away, as you've
Brad's
Brad's
when this
angry.
releases, when this
Rage.
releases, it'll still Lee Brad James. When this releases, it'll still be just one
Just
game.
the one game, yep.
But it was a game, I guess.
Oh,
It was a
So
game of
hard to
basketball.
watch.
it's the hardest game I've watched this year by a lot, like a long shot. And I've watched Warriors games this year.
yeah, I just
So-
A lot of Warriors
I just
games.
couldn't believe it.
I don't remember. I sort of stopped paying attention, but also you guys did too. Did Jokic foul out, or did you just hit 5 and
I think he
leave?
stopped. I didn't get to watch the end of the game. But I don't think he fouled out. I'll check.
It was pretty much
I'm
like the
pretty sure
typical, got your 2 in the first, sat out, got your 3rd in the second, sat out, got your 4th in the 3rd, sat out. And then it was just shit. It was just shit. And the stuff that he was getting called for just wasn't reciprocated.
There was
I think
no
so-
consistency.
Yeah. If we're going just back on the game as in general,
He only had
as
5
in
chin.
the free throws, if you, like someone wanted to get the free throw numbers up, so lopsided. If you want to get the
Yeah.
foul numbers up, they're so lopsided. It was just bullshit. And the same calls each side.
So it was 26 fouls and 28 free throws attempts for Denver.
Yep.
It ended up Lakers actually ended up having more fouls, 28,
Jeez.
and their free throws attempts were 37. So they had 9 more
lot
free
of
throw
free
attempts. But I think the only fouls Lakers got were in the last quarter.
Must have been because I turned off.
Because
Equalisation.
Pretty much. No, yeah.
Last quarter, I didn't watch the last quarter because it was just shit.
Anthony Davis had 15 free throw attempts.
Yeah.
The fact that AD afterwards claims that they were told to go aggressive, and he's like, "Oh, we went aggressive." It's like, well, not really, because your aggression, like, if you were really being aggressive, you guys would have caught more fouls, but you didn't.
Yeah, right.
The other team did.
So I said with 6 minutes left in the third, the Nuggets had 21 fouls with 16 free throws, and the Lakers had 14 fouls with 32 free throws.
That's
I don't know. Just watching the game, it doesn't feel like that's what it should have been. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And
I
but
don't
even
want to
like
be
just
like, oh,
talking
the
on
refs were
consistency.
bad, but
No, but like
it's
even just talking consistency for the Lakers. So they had 32 free throw attempts with 6 minutes left in the third, and at the end of the game they had 5 more. How is
That's
that
insane.
consistent? Even like
yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
not.
That's the one thing. Like, you can live with shocking calls. You can't live with it, but you're okay with it if they're calling on both ends. But I didn't watch the game.
Yeah,
But
They weren't calling on
there
both
was a
teams.
stretch there where there was probably 4 minutes worth of offensive like time with the Lakers, like offensive runs that they got a free throws from, and it was just horrible to watch. Let alone like imagine like playing with that. Oh,
Yeah.
And there were these 2 possessions in a row. Like there's one where Jokic set a pretty good screen, and got called for the offensive foul. And then it went on to a sideline ball, and Jokic gets double pumped by like Dwight Howard or someone, falls to the ground,
it was Morris, yeah,
and Morris falls to the
dropped
ground,
him.
and it's a no call.
Yeah,
and
Morris.
Morris and Dwight Howard were all over them that game. It was
Yeah.
And they-
really difficult to watch.
100%.
And then there was this other one where Jokic did a floater, got blocked by Dwight Howard. It was actually a pretty big block, but it was a huge charge right in the middle, and it was just ignored.
Yeah, right.
Because there was this big highlight block, and it's just like the
I
flow of
think,
the game was awful.
I think Lockie summed it up best when he said AD only gets fouls because his eyebrow is a 6th limb. So
6. What's his 5th limb?
You
We
know
don't
what his
talk-
fifth
we don't
limb
talk
is.
about that on
you
the
know what his
NBeanA
fifth limb
podcast.
is.
It's a family podcast.
And it's got a
This is
matching
PG.
eyebrow.
oh, you know what his 5th limb is? His new haircut. Fuck me. It's a pro.
Oh,
Got a
It's
lot
just
of limbs on that.
it's not good.
I mean,
not
okay,
over on
I'm
this
going to play
game.
devil's advocate on this one for the Lakers. LeBron is still playing like a madman. He's awesome to watch still, and still
Yeah.
like putting up massive numbers.
Oh, he played well.
He's a
and
freak.
out.
Rajon Rondo, man.
Oh, he had a good
He
game.
was good. Past
That's it.
Michael Jordan for 10th all time in the playoff assist leader, which
Really?
was pretty good. Yeah,
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
looking
it's like
he's
1,040 something. Like it was-
closer to vintage Rondo, like Celtics Rondo that I've seen. Like
You
he had
you give him a pick and roll, and it's just let him go to work.
right? Oh, he's so good.
But the thing that frustrates
was really
me
good
with
today.
Lakers, and Mitch will jump on this as well. You've got AD played okay in this game, scored 37 points, but I just can't give him
15
the
free throw attempts.
12 of
15
those are free
free throws.
throws.
And then you've got LeBron, who genuinely had a good game, but the Lakers, every fucking possession was, call this and call that.
And they're doing these ones.
What is
The
this?
head back and shit.
It's-
Oh, I hate that. I
This
hate that
time,
one.
there was a couple of times. There was one where Jokic was running towards AD when he was taking a shot. He was taking a 3, and Jokic was running towards him and kind of like tried to slow down, and he just didn't slow down like just enough,
Oh,
and like bumped AD a little bit during the shot, and they were like, "Yep,
Yeah.
shooting foul, 100%. Let him take free throws." It was like, well,
Legit.
he barely touched him. First
know.
off.
It's just so
Secondly,
frustrating.
it barely even like he pretty much had let go of the ball. It wouldn't have ruined his momentum at all. I don't know. I just thought some of the calls
who
there was
I
a lot like that.
Pleasantly surprised with their lack of flopping was LeBron. I thought, I
Yeah.
think he recognised that he was getting a lot of calls and stuff because there was about 4 times where I saw him drop his shoulder into Jamal Murray or Gary Harrison, just put him on their floor, like put him on the floor and get an one for it.
there was this one layup that when there was a clear, he dropped his shoulder and just went
Yeah, and just
boom,
went bang.
down.
And,
And it's like, yep, block. They challenged it, and Nah, still
No,
blocked. Like,
still-
no, it's clearly
No,
a
it's
charge. Feet
definitely
set,
a charge,
shoulder
right?
down. I don't know what they're looking at.
But you like that he's smart enough to recognise that he's not getting called for
Exactly
those, so
right.
you might as well do it every time.
If you're gonna get
And
him,
he-
take him.
And he knew too. He knew exactly when no one can touch him. And he knew Jokic was in foul trouble, and
Yeah,
Plumlee's just not
100%.
quick enough. And he was putting up some big,
Um,
big Shaq-like dunks. Like they were.
So
was
I
those-
just. Well, you go. Locke. No, you
Nah.
go.
Well, I was gonna say it's,
Nah,
it
you-
was
I'll,
no,
those,
I'll go. I'll go.
You
Do you wanna-
go?
Oh,
I'll
it was those calls
it's,
plus
oh wait, I'll go. My
Dwight
turn.
Howard like just demoralizing Jokic, like being all over him the whole game.
Yeah.
It just kind of like you could tell something was off for the Nuggets, especially in
Yeah.
that second half. Where you could just tell like they were completely done with that game.
And
Yeah.
this
Even
is
with-
kind of to that point, Lockie, really quick.
Mm.
Is so this has to do with the fouls as well. When you're in foul trouble like that, the Nuggets played 12 players today.
Mhm.
Had 12 people on the floor. All of them scored, but when you're in foul trouble like that, you've got to bring players out that haven't had playoff experience and haven't had flow of the game experience, and it just ruins everything. Like, and that's like not trying to like talk shit on Bol or Cater Bates Diop, right? Or no, Troy Daniels. Like,
But
he
it's
came out and had
valuable.
8 points, but like, if you haven't been playing with the team, especially in the playoff games where Jamal Murray's had to turn it on and drop 40 or Jokic's had to have 30 and 15, you don't know how to play against that. And especially up against one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest playoff players of all time. Yeah,
AD.
struggling. Anthony Davis. But yeah, sorry about that, Lockie. That was just something that I figured I'd
No,
notice.
no,
and
it's
sort of
good.
tied in with that.
It's like at halftime, the commentary team put it well. They were like, it was Michael Malone's worst nightmare. You've got Jokic in foul trouble. You've got Jamal Murray in foul trouble, and I think it was either Paul Millsap or Gary Harris that was in foul trouble.
Both
as
of
well.
them had 3.
Yeah.
Can I comment on the commentary?
Here we go.
I don't know. I don't know who the middleman was, but it was Chris Webber.
Yeah.
Fucking Reggie Miller, championship players. Never touched one. But either way, fucking dumb as dog shit. I've never heard people dumber. It's like, Chris Webber. LeBron's best teammate is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, right?
Fuck off, idiot. Dwayne Wade,
The
Chris Bosh,
Dwayne Wade.
Speedy Lakers.
Shaq
Played with
Squeal
The
O'Neal.
speedy Lakers
He has
went all
played
over
with
his
Shaquille
fouling.
Oh,
Speedy.
Speedy
He
Lakers.
has played with Shaquille O'Neal.
Look at him
That is
go.
like all you need to say to that.
Yeah, and then they're like talking about all these, is Jokic one of the best passing big men at the moment? And it's just like no credit to what they were doing at all. And it was
And
like
They also
they said, yeah, you go, Mitch.
They said that the Lakers were holding back Jokic when it was the foul trouble that held back Jokic.
Yeah.
And then expanding on that, Mitch, they also said that Lakers are really rough by fouls. They've had it hard through the foul contest. Like fuck,
Right.
what game are you watching?
Like
What
yeah.
game are you watching?
They're playing 2K. They've got a different game up on their screen.
They're playing
Yeah.
a quick play game.
They've got a monitor hooked up to the plexiglass.
Yeah, right. But yeah, very, very, very frustrating to watch. Hopefully, there's a bit of backlash after today, and they pull their head in a bit, because if they do that sort of thing again, they'll
It
be
gets a bit
uproar,
fishy. Gets a bit fishy
right?
after that.
Yeah.
They were saying, what were they saying? They were saying Jokic is getting away with every foul. Like,
Hmm.
did you
So he
see
clearly
his
didn't get
foul
away
count?
with every
It's
foul.
because he got tangled up with AD once, and it was
Yeah.
just a no call.
Yeah, I could. And
Fuck off.
He was not getting away with most of them.
One thing that I
No.
didn't like was there's a bit where Jokic got dropped. And he was like walked past, like looking down at him, and then like put his
he
hand
got
out to help
popped.
him out, but like
Yeah.
didn't actually. He just sort of put his hand out like next to him.
Yeah,
it was like and kept walking. Like, grow up, dickhead.
Oh,
Grub.
he's
Just
not.
grub.
And he was. I've never seen him smile so much in a game. Like he knew, like he was in on the joke. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
right.
foul all these players out.
The Jokic.
Yeah.
Oh, I've still got one thing to say about that game. How can you have a starting centre in the Western Conference
Here you go.
Finals have 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists?
He's Shaq to the fool.
How many minutes did he clock? He wasn't
like,
on.
10 or 11, not a lot of minutes,
Oh,
but like
God.
Yeah, 10.
Still.
He had 10 minutes, but you think he'd snag a board?
Yeah, one board. He's like 7-1, isn't he?
Yeah, and bouncy.
JaVale
And
In
McGee.
10 minutes. Like,
JaVale McGee is like one of those people. Like every third game, you're going to get 10 and 10 from him, and apart from that, he's just a lob threat. And
Yeah,
not much else, and he's just a really good bench guy. But
yeah.
got to clock some
He's
statistics.
7 foot flat. How is a 7-footer? That is atrocious. He should be getting at least a board every like 6 minutes at the worst.
Yeah,
You'd hope so.
needs Draymond to throw him lobs.
Oh, that's all I've got to say about that.
well, do we want to... Is there anything else about this series, or do we want to say our predictions for it?
Moving on.
I reckon we
Really
could do
quick, I
predictions.
just want to mention a quick comparison.
Mhm.
As you can see, I've got him here.
Yep.
The
The
greatest
great
white
white player.
player of all time, Larry Bird.
Michael Jordan,
Kobe.
right?
Much like
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, yeah?
Nikola
You're hurting my
Jokic.
head, boys. Stop it.
That's...
I just
That's
wanted to
Jason
draw.
Tatum?
I just wanted to draw a comparison
Channing.
to Jokic, which is
My bad.
almost racist, but it's not. But they're both just white fellas having a crack, but leading their team. But they're both blokes that look like they shouldn't be good at basketball, and I just love it because they're out there tearing up these dudes. And imagine like if you were like playing like at a court or something, and one of these blokes walks in and you didn't know them, and you'd be like, like, all right, like if they weren't 7 foot, like you'd be like, come on, mate. And now they're coming out and they've dropped like 30 points a game and stuff. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring up Larry Bird because he's the best white player of all time.
Jokic
Okay.
hits you with that turnaround one step.
That one leg
Shot.
shot, so good, man.
Sunball shuffle.
They were talking about how unfit he was, but when he was on the court, he was running rings around everyone with skill.
Right.
He did not use his energy. And I was talking about it with the ball movement before. He does this exact same thing. If he doesn't need to jump, he's not going to jump. If he can tip it in without leaving
Yeah.
the ground, he does it. Like
And
it's
Why would you?
I think his biggest thing is that he doesn't rush ever. Like
He's
people
so
go,
smart.
He's moving slow, but he's not moving slow. He's just moving like with intent.
Very calculated basketball.
There was
Right,
this
like-
one position where he caught it, where he caught it on the high post and just held it up like, one hand
Yeah.
in the sky and waited for about 8 seconds until it was 4 seconds left and just dished it off to
Yeah.
the other Morris, that other little Morris, and just popped
The
it in
most
for the
consistent
nicest
spot I
nicest
see him
thing.
getting it is like looking at the ring. When you're looking at the ring, left side just above the free throw line.
Yeah,
Every single time he'll get it there and he'll look around and he'll often he'll either see Jamal Murray and Jamal Murray will tell him to fling it to the corner, or he'll fling it to Jamal Murray and he'll hit the three. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's sick, man. He's so good to watch, and because he's a big body, guards like run off him and everything. It's great.
Oh, and before we move on, we've got to talk about Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, I have a lot to say.
Did we mention what he said in the
Go on,
media
Brad.
last
Briefly
episode?
touch on
We did, didn't we?
MPJ.
I think we
Yeah,
mentioned
about
it,
he
yeah.
needs more touches and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
He said
think-
we all need more touches, but mainly me. All of us,
Yeah,
but mainly me.
yeah.
When he was on today, so when you come into the game and you're a very gifted scorer, you need to score as you are useless on the court.
Yeah.
He's a defensive liability, and he has been since he's played in the NBA, and it's just hasn't got NBA defense yet.
He did snag 10 boards.
Did snag 10 boards.
That's just height.
That's just when you're like, what is he,
Yeah.
6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah.
That should happen when you're that tall.
And just
JaVale,
centers out the whole game because he's in foul trouble as
Yeah.
well. But his shooting, his shot selection, his defensive presence was just
Was he just struggling to get
as
it going?
soon as they went on, the Lakers got wide eyed. Rondo got wide eyed and go, okay, we're going to get up 10 points here. We'll get the plus 10 points while he's on the court, and they did. And just Mark Malone just kept trickling him on every now and then, and he
He
just
did have +5.
He did
plus
have
or
plus
minus.
5. Jeez.
Which
That
is
really
surprising,
surprises me
but
because he was a really
you compare that
big
to
liability.
so you look at the starting 5. Jeremy Grant -25, Jamal Murray -21, Nikola Jokic -19. So you're
Yeah.
telling me that
Shit.
the Nuggets are worse when Jokic and Jamal Murray are on?
It's a hard one.
But yeah, I get that. He'll learn though. And if he
You
gets
hope.
his defense up this offseason, he's a serious threat in this league.
Absolutely, because his scoring wasn't good. But yeah, you need to back up your words when you've
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're gonna complain, especially to the media, you got to do something with it. You got to get your touches have to be really quality. Otherwise, you look like a bit of a douche.
Yeah. I've just seen this thing just before we move on from this series. It's comparing LeBron and the Nuggets as a franchise.
Oh god, this is
So
ridiculous. I've
LeBron's
seen
got
this.
164 playoff wins. The Nuggets have 76. So over double. Conference Finals appearances. LeBron's got 11, while the Nuggets have 4. And then Finals appearances. LeBron 9, Nuggets 0. And for championships, LeBron 3, Nuggets 0. Like, that's insane.
It's insane.
That's
But
fucked.
I think like what they said on the TV when they showed that stat today is like 75% of the NBA's teams also share that as well.
Yeah.
Like it's a small market team with LeBron who gets what he wants at the end of the day.
Moving on
Still-
from the
still,
bad
yeah.
and the ugly to the good, the
Should
Eastern
we just
Conference.
quickly say what's the predictions everyone for
Predictions?
this series?
Oh, yeah,
I'm going
true.
Lakers in 6.
I said Lakers 6.
I was gonna say Lakers in 6 as well. Because I'm worried that if I say Nuggets, it won't happen.
Yeah, don't
Lakers in 6.
Yeah, Lakers in 6.
I'm
Let's go
tied
Lakers. No, let's go Lakers in 7.
It
Thanks,
depends
Connor.
if
Get
the
it down.
fouls can be better. Actually, no, go Lakers in 7. Change
I'm
mine.
sticking on 6. I'll keep 6.
Go Lakers in 7.
You
Lachlan.
know, I'm going to go the dark horse again. I'm going to go Nuggets in 7.
Imagine
He's
Lockie goes
jinxed it.
Nuggets in 4.
It's a sweet baby. Get the
Nuggets in 3.
brooms out.
Nuggets in 3. Nuggets in 3.
Can someone hear a broom? There's a broom in here.
Who opened the broom closet?
But yeah, one thing that Lakers need to be careful with as well is that they had everything set up that they wanted with everyone on foul trouble, and they're at one stage they were only down by like 10 points, and
Yeah,
they should
right.
have been up by like 45, and it was
Yeah.
a bit scary. So when Jokic actually gets to play, it's going to extend the series a lot.
Yeah,
That's my
it's going to be
closing
scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
100%.
And I don't think there's anyone slowing Jamal Murray down other than fouls.
yeah.
Avery Bradley would have helped, but you know.
Exactly.
Avery Bradley would have helped.
Oh yeah, disclaimer. I'm pretty sure the Lakers are going to win, but I've got to go with the Nuggets. Like, I mean, just in case, right?
No disclaimer.
You said Nuggets. No
I really hope
disclaiming.
Nuggets get it. But
I
yeah, so
hope
on
they
to over to the East.
Yeah, I think the best person to talk about this is probably Lockie, to be honest. So,
Because his team is in the Eastern Conference. His team, the Chicago Bulls, they're in the East.
well, I think Mitch is actually going to go. And Connor, shut the fuck up. So, Lockie, you're on.
I'm going to pass it over to my consultant. I've just got him on the headset here. Connor Herzl and Mitch Watson. How do we think about the first 2 games?
Yeah, hi,
Pretty
Lockie.
good, I think. Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
good.
pretty happy with them.
Go ahead.
I've just got a quick stat for everyone. The last, I think it's 11 games that the Boston Celtics have been in the bubble. The away team, so obviously there's no away team. They're all really neutral, but the away team has won. So Boston was the highest seed in their first series, and they swept. So their last 2 games were away games.
Oh, I can't hear.
They won those 2. All 7 of the games against the Raptors, the away team won. And then the first 2 games, Miami as the lowest seed didn't have they were the away team, and they won them. What a weird stat. 11 games away team.
Let's talk about the weirdest stat here, okay? Last week, Spaghetti
Last
Brain
week,
Connor.
Spaghetti Brain!
I know you want to talk about it. You want to talk about it, so let's fucking talk about it. You said that Dragic could score 30 points on any given night. Now, game 1.
How many did he score?
How many did
He
you score?
scored 29.
Not
That's
30.
Is
not
that 30?
30. It's not
It's
30.
not 30, but it shows he can score 30.
But he can't-
Oh, no, he
He
can
did-
score
It shows he
29
It shows
on
he
any
couldn't.
given night.
And then in game 2, he scored 25. So his average is 27 for the series. But
For 2
that's
games.
10%. You get plus or minus 10% when you write an essay.
No, not
You
every
get plus or
time. I
minus
just had an
10% on
assignment
predictions.
due. I just had an
No,
assignment
I
due
just
that
had
was
an assignment,
limited.
mate.
It was limited. So, mate, I tell you,
He's
hasn't
balled
dropped
out,
30.
and he's really
Almost is not correct. Herzl.
almost made me look like not a spaghetti brain. Maybe
Almost.
it's just like lasagna brain at the moment because it's like a bit solid but still pasta, so it's not.
Hey,
Okay, but yeah, there's a game when when we're recording this. There's a game tomorrow. By the time this comes out, that game will have been played. But Mitch, why don't you talk about how you feel? about what's happening.
It's just frustrating. I don't think an NBA team should have trouble against a zone, especially a team that's shooting 60% for the first half. Got swapped to a zone and it
Fell apart.
fell apart, which was really frustrating. But that's all right. To Heat's credit, they bowled out. We were up 17 at one point. We were down 7 at the end. That's all I can say. Still not counting Boston out.
They've both
Yeah,
been very
I mean,
close
I'm
games, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing. They're both very close games.
I wouldn't count Boston out at all because they've both been like very, very close games. First one goes into overtime. Second one, didn't lose by much.
First one was this close to being a second time. This close to being double overtime.
What's that noise? Psh, psh. Oh, it's a broom. Sweep time. Miami in 4.
God.
Yeah.
I think the big thing about it all is we're just not having consistent enough scoring.
Tatum went 0 from 7 from his last 7 shots in game 1.
And that's the thing where
Tragic.
Miami Heat have to
Whereas
be scared
Miami's
if he's not playing ace basketball yet. He's due to play ace basketball very soon.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is the best fourth quarter player in this series, or the best crunch player in this series.
This playoffs. He's the best fourth quarter
Yeah,
player
but-
this playoffs. I can't think of anyone better.
Yeah, he had
that's
two big steals in the last 3 minutes of game 2.
They were crazy.
2 big steals.
Yeah,
The first one got him within a point, and the second one gave him the lead, I think.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep the ball when Jimmy Butler's. It's hard. You want to keep the ball moving, but it's hard to keep the ball moving when Jimmy Butler's on the court because he's so dangerous. At the top of the 3, sort of on the interception there.
I think and Jimmy Butler's weapon too, and this is sort of all of his not even weaknesses, but he's not the strongest 3-point shooter in the NBA. He's not the strongest, mid-range or driver or anything. But that just makes him offensively the most unpredictable offensive player that I've sort of seen in a while. He can sort of put up there.
And with Bam, he's such a good leader for the Heat, isn't he?
Is he?
Oh, he's awesome. He's the biggest problem for us.
I'm not going to say he won us those games, but
if you look at this right here,
game-winning Brad.
Got to talk about my player to watch from last week. Yeah. Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo. This block, and the third quarter in game 2 when Daniel Tice forgot what a pick and roll was. forgot everything about basketball defending. And let Bam.
Mitch is sick of hearing about this block.
No, I'm not talking. No, we're not even talking about the block. We're talking about the pick and roll defense. If you're a center, and if you're any respectable center at any level of basketball, you've got to have a rough idea of how to play a pick and roll defense because the pick and roll is the most basic basketball play ever. Right?
Yeah, it's what you do when nothing works. It's what you go to.
Right? You go to a pick and roll. So, Tice, just get in the way of Bam. That's all you have to do. Don't try and split the screen. Just sit back. Because who's normally running with him? Goran Dragic?
Dragic, yeah.
Right? Sit close enough that because a big Kemba or Marcus, I think Marcus Smart guarded him a bit more in the second game. Sit close enough to give him the help. Because Goran Dragic, he's a great 3-point shooter, but he's not super consistent, is he? Yeah, he's been shooting about 40%, 30%.
Yeah, a bit 35, 40% probably, somewhere around that. So, he can hit them, you can't leave him open.
Exactly, but this is what the commentator said. Bam's going to hit more free throws, hit more dunks than Goran Dragic is going to hit threes. You'd much rather make Goran Dragic shoot a 3 where he's a bit uncomfortable, as opposed to Bam Adebayo just fucking putting his nuts in your face and killing you. And I think that Tice is just way too slow to be out there against a dynamic centre like Bam.
He's not good enough offensively to justify him
being out there. He's not good enough on either end. And that's why we need Time Lord out there. But even Enes Kanter got more minutes in the second game, and I think he played about half the minutes.
Didn't miss a shot.
So Enes Kanter played 11 minutes, right? And Daniel Tice played 31. In those 10 minutes, Enes Kanter had 9 and 6. In the whole game, 31 minutes, Daniel Tice had 6 and 8. And Enes Kanter is a legitimate threat offensively. He's a bit quicker than Tice, maybe a little bit less athletic, but he'll actually give you defense. And I saw him hustle. I haven't seen Tice hustle the whole playoffs. He just doesn't want to be out there, and then he's smirking and shit. Like I watched him get a dumb foul on Bam and then smirk.
Oh, he complains at every
God.
call, every dunk call. He's like,
Right, and then he did
But,
this
like-
dumb smile, like, "Oh yeah, I let Bam dunk on me." Oh,
the thing with the pick and roll though as well. It was Jaylen Brown. I think it was him. He was pretty poor on that as well. He was sort of on Duncan
Yeah.
Robinson, who was sitting in the corner. He's got to recognise if Tice is in a bad position and got to come in and put some pressure on the Dragic pass to make him kick it to Duncan Robinson in the corner, who is a very good
you
3-point
can't
shooter. But
trust Duncan
again,
Robinson open. Like you
I
can't
think-
leave Duncan Robinson open.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
but
that
again, he's gonna miss more open threes and Bam's gonna miss dunks and layups.
I'll defend
Yeah.
Jalen on that one. When
Yeah.
you're in a pick and roll, and the first thing that you do when you learn how to defend a pick and roll is the big man is telling you what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
Yeah,
your
so
responsibility to know what
Tice
to
has
do.
got to be
So-
calling him
So
in.
straight
He's
away,
gotta be
Tice
calling
has to
him
be
in.
talking, right? Tice has to be going switch.
If
or
Tice
push
is
through.
even close enough, he can push. If he doesn't want to say anything, he can push
Right.
him or pull him. He's got to do something. So that's the first thing you learn. The big man needs to be your
and he's not even talking.
backbone.
He's
not-
even
yeah,
if
I
he was
don't
a
think
shit
so.
defender but was talking, you'd be like, okay, he's just a liability out there. Like, oh, he had one game where he had 15 points. You're a starting centre. You should be
Well,
getting at least 10.
Like that's where you like Rondo. Why is he such a good defender still, and he's not athletic anymore? Talks.
Yeah,
Talks
exactly.
and talks.
All right,
CP3.
so the NBeanA podcast is over.
Oh.
We're now doing coaching Celtics, everyone. Welcome to Coaching
Oh,
Celtics, the
it's
podcast where
just
we
so
coach
frustrating.
the Celtics.
And Brad
So-
Stevens, speaking of coaching, Brad Stevens is a very good coach, but he
Yeah.
once again
Um,
stubborn with
I
Tice.
think it was just struggling. I think we're just. It didn't look like the Boston Celtics that we know and love.
Yeah,
In the
it didn't
games
look
that they
like
play
that.
well, they weren't comfortable. And I don't know if you guys heard, Marcus Smart gave the team a spray in the room
Good.
after.
Yeah,
A
he
massive
good.
spray.
Stevens got. I think that's what you're talking about. Stevens got Tatum, Brown, Kemba, and Marcus Smart, and like had a discussion with them, and there was a lot of yelling.
No. It was straight after the game.
Oh,
I think
okay.
In the
I'm
locker
pretty sure
room.
Marcus Smart gave him a word after that.
Apparently there
and
were
then-
items thrown.
Yeah, something like that. But well,
What
like,
was that, Brad?
should have
Yeah.
done it.
Of
There's like
course.
things thrown and stuff in the locker
Oh.
room because, and
You
that's
don't mind
honestly
hearing that
what
as
they
an opposition
need.
fan, do you?
Nah.
Because it's
Nah.
like, I haven't watched much Celtics, but this series has shown me that Marcus Smart, so fucking good on defensive end and the offensive end. Such a like good core player for the Celtics.
Yeah,
I
right?
reckon
And
if
this-
Marcus Smart gets more touches, that'll be a problem for the Heat, to be honest.
He's shooting very well.
Yeah.
And Mitch and I's old coach was sort of bringing up on Instagram, was sort of bringing up maybe Smart should be running the point rather than Kemba and let Kemba run off ball, and you've got a lot more options
I
offensively.
don't think that Kemba
Chuck kind of
I
likes
don't,
the idea of that.
I'm not against that. I just think Kemba's a bit better at creating a shot there. I'm not against Kemba running the point. Because the ball will end up with Smart either way. Boston will often fucking do a like little top screen, screen to get a mismatch to the ball that they want. So like Kemba only really brings the ball down, and then it doesn't really stay with someone, unless he's doing his own little ISO thing. But I think
Which was deadly in the first half.
Yeah.
right.
That was scary in the first half, and
dude.
I don't know what happened, but Kemba he did get a bit of a head whack, but there wasn't a lot
It didn't
in
look
it.
hard, did it?
It didn't look a lot in it, but he was. I don't know if that's when he started being bad, but not that he was bad, but he just wasn't as reliable.
You
Like,
never
he
know
was-
with a head knock, do you?
Yeah, no, he was unconscious in the first half. Like that was like he could do no wrong, and it was so frustrating to watch him just ball out like that because
Yeah. You didn't really have an answer for it.
yeah. But good news is apparently Gordon Hayward's not far off. He's been made questionable for game
really?
3. So if he's not
Shit.
in game 3, you assume he's going to be in
That's
game
good.
4.
And what do they do with that, Mitch? Is that like a 7th or 8th man just in case?
No,
To ruin flow?
if he's healthy, he probably won't go starting 5. But if he's healthy, he'll probably be 6 man.
6 man?
Because at the moment, our 6 man would be like Brad Wanamaker, who's just
He's
a bit of a
turnover prone.
bum.
He makes some bad decisions.
Brad
with the ball.
Wanamaker's really good defensively. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I really like him defensively, but yeah, he's just not that good offensively.
Whenever
So-
he has the ball, he'll travel before he starts dribbling. He does it. a
Yeah.
lot more often than you'd like to for a guy who's 30 in the NBA. I
Right.
think you'd know not to do that
Is
by
he
now.
30?
Yes,
Yeah.
they kept mentioning it in game 2. They're like, he's the old man of the Celtics.
He's got a
old.
whack face. I don't know if it'll show it because of the thing. Look at his head.
I did not know he was 30. I
Um,
was like, oh, maybe he's like a 23, 24-year-old, just sort
And
of.
the same thing happened again, Brad. Grant Williams got 10 minutes, right? I reckon about 8 of them were in the last quarter.
Yeah, that's kind of not on.
Every single
Rough.
time.
That's so out of flow.
And he had 10 minutes, got 3 boards. I'd rather him than Tice.
I'm not against him being on in the last minutes, but I'm against him being on without the flow of the game.
Being on only
You
in the
gotta
last minutes.
Yeah.
Give him some time earlier in the game to get into it. That's
Get
just-
him how physical's Bam being that night. How much
Right.
you have to come out to help on Crowder if Crowder's shooting good. Like you need to know that stuff before you go out in the last.
Also,
what was
I
it,
think
8
Brad
minutes?
Stevens took a bit too long to change something up with Bam in the third quarter. He didn't really look to do anything like change. If someone's gone 3 possessions in a row, pretty much, and they're all alley-oop dunks or layups or like points at the rim, you got to change out your center or something. You got to do something because I think he shot 5 from 6 in the third quarter. They had 10 points and missed a free throw or something, or made a free throw. I don't know.
Well, on that, here's a question for the smart boys, especially you, Mitch. What do you think the Celtics have to change in their defense to get up to guys like Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Bam?
I seriously think they just need to have Tice off the floor because he's just way too slow to guard someone as explosive and as
Unless Kelly
moves
Olynyk's
so
on the
well.
floor.
Right? No, if Bam's not on the floor, when Bam's off, bring Tice on. I'm fine with that. But he's not slow enough. He's not quick enough, but he also doesn't hustle enough when Bam's out there because Bam is one of the best at putting his head down and going. Like if there's a loose ball, he'll dive on it. If there's a board, he's hunting for it. Whereas Tice is just a ball watcher. He puts his head up, he does these ones, and he looks at everything around him.
Hands by his side.
Right? He doesn't go for it. He doesn't hustle. He doesn't want it, which is why you need someone like Robert Williams III. Even Grant Williams, just they're young pups that want to play, so they're out there doing it. I saw Enes Kanter run the floor. Enes Kanter's a slow dude. He not a massive thing of his to run. In the 10 minutes he was out there, he ran more than Tice. Like he's just way too slow. And I think, and that, just on that is just consistency. I want to look at our turnover numbers in that last game.
They were pretty shocking. They had like 20 or something like that.
Yeah, we had 20 turnovers to Miami's 9.
Yeah.
And Miami are really good at scoring off turnovers.
Yeah.
So
especially,
I think that'd be.
I think someone that's underrated for Miami, which is crazy to say that this man is underrated. He's won a Finals MVP. It's Iguodala. Having him off the bench is so valuable.
Yeah.
Valuable. Him talking to Hero, him talking to Duncan, him talking to any of your young boys.
Like,
He's helping so many people in the Miami Heat just light up.
Yeah,
he's a great defender, and he's a good playmaker. He can run the point if you need him to. They don't need him to because they got Dragic to do it, but he can if Dragic is in foul trouble, you can get Iggy to run the point for a bit.
Yeah,
like
the deadliest weapon when he was in Golden State, the deadliest weapon was having Draymond at the 5, Iguodala on the 4, but Iguodala running point 4.
Yeah,
it was unstoppable. He's so capable and smart. He doesn't need to shoot at all. He could shoot 0 from 0. Fine,
yeah,
he'll be
he
fine.
can shoot though if they need him to.
He can.
And
I
there's
wouldn't trust
one
him
other
from
guy
3,
I want to talk about, and that is this man here, Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
bro.
is third,
He's the consistent.
third in the playoffs this year for 3-pointers made.
Good on him. He's awesome.
I get the least. I know Jamal Murray's first. But
What about
Jamal
his
Murray's
big?
played
What about his big and 1-3?
That was huge.
Yes.
Oh,
my
bro.
god, he doesn't get fouled a lot on those 3-pointers, whereas Duncan Robinson does. But he's a good shooter. He is.
But, yeah, Lockie, just really quick while Hoetzel's looking for that, to answer your question, the big thing that Boston needs to do is just take care with the ball because we've got a lot of smart players. Even though we're a very young team, there's a lot of smart players with high IQ. Like Jason Tatum can ball and he's already got a good basketball IQ. Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker. You've got players that when they've got the ball in their hands, they can make things happen. But in the last, like in game 2 and game 1, I think it's probably even a little bit more. We just seem to be forcing it a bit.
Yeah.
Like when you've got an offensive-minded coach like Brad Stevens who can run plays to get people open and things like that, you got to trust it and take your time. And it's really hard to score when you've got 11 more turnovers than the other team.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
if you just take that extra second, you don't hesitate, but you just think, right? Because Jason Tatum's been a stickler for it. He had 5 turnovers in the last game. He tries to get his own shot, and then as soon as he gets stuck, he just throws it
Yeah.
as quick as he can to get rid of it, and it just easy pick off, especially with Jimmy Butler on the other team, who just is smart. It just makes it so hard to not only score but get momentum. So yeah, it would just be taking that turnover number and getting it lower because it kills us, man.
And like you said, Miami Heat are one of the best teams at scoring off those turnovers.
Right? Yeah. So it's just, I think that'll be the big thing, is just taking care of the ball, because again, 11 more turnovers and only losing by 5 is
That's
not a
pretty
bad
bloody
sign.
good. Yeah.
Not bad, yeah.
And we're having relatively quiet games from our scorers.
Mhm.
Again,
It was the first half shooting that really kept them in it, because they were pretty, as good as they were shooting, they were pretty bad at keeping the ball. I think they had 7 or 9 turnovers in the first quarter alone.
Yeah.
And so I've got the stats up here. So players still left in the playoffs. Jamal Murray is first on 56 3-pointers made.
Yep.
Going at 49.6%, by the way, shooting from 3. That is insane.
Wait, Jamal Murray?
How much?
Jamal Murray is almost shooting 50% from 3.
Oh.
He's going at 49.6%. That is insane.
Very lovely luxury to have.
And then Jay Crowder is total playoff made 3-pointers is 4th, but he'll overtake, in the minimum of 5 games, he will overtake James Harden and Van Fleet. A minimum of 4 games left that they're going to play, minimum if Boston in the next 4. He needs to make 5 more threes, and he will tie with Van Fleet in second.
Yeah.
And he's shooting them at 40%. He's hit 38. He's second if players still in the bubble. That's a real good luxury to have, considering Duncan Robinson is someone who you'd normally think would be up there, for Miami. He's on 32. He's 11th right now overall. That's 5th still remaining. And he's going at 40% as well. That's a couple of good shooters for Miami. Wow, I didn't think of that. That's a lot.
That's insane.
That's 2 guys shooting over 40% from 3.
Yeah.
And then Marcus Smart's also doing pretty well, going at 35%.
Duncan Robinson is so automatic.
You can't leave him open. He'll have bad games. I think game 1 he didn't have a great game. Don't think he even scored, to be honest. But then he comes out and shoots 4 from 5, all from 3 in the first quarter.
You know what I love? Is it he shot 6 from 12, right? But every single one of those shots was a 3.
Yeah, he only shoots threes. I think the commentators are saying he shot something 380 field goal attempts in the season. 300 of them were 3-point attempts.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll see if I can get the exact
That's
number.
me in the beans.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll go for a lap and go back to the corner and shoot a 3 rather than take a layup.
Heutzel, interests me your answer to Lockie's question in the what do you think Boston should do to beat Miami?
Get Tice off the court. But I don't know. They've got to make sure they've got a big lead at 3/4 time, I think, because of how good Jimmy Butler can be in the 4th.
Yeah.
As good as they are, I don't think anybody comes close to Jimmy Butler in the 4th. And Jimmy Butler even said, someone's asked him, why are you so much better in the 4th compared to the first 3 quarters? And he said, I want to get my other guys in rhythm. I want everyone else to get in rhythm so that they are good in the 4th when I can turn it on.
Yeah.
And it's worked so far. I mean, having a guy like Duncan Robinson who shot 50% from the game from 3 and Goran Dragic who scored 25 points. If they're in rhythm when Jimmy Butler's turning it on, that is scary. It's going to be hard for any team to beat that. Any team is going to struggle against that when all the Heat players are in rhythm. They've got to do something to nullify Jimmy in the 4th quarter. Try and just get him off ball as much as possible, I think. So you want to, you don't want to say this in a playoff, but you want to run as many ISOs as possible and get Jimmy away from the ball.
Yeah.
You want to get some off balls and try and get Jimmy stuck in the corner guarding, stuck on Jaylen Brown or something in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
That's what
thing
you
that
gotta
I would be careful with as Boston too is trying to integrate Hayward too fast. You know,
forcing
Yeah,
it.
forcing it because that could just while you're sort of in this position now, you can't really afford to get
100%.
too experimental in it. So maybe you just
I
don't
don't
watch out for that.
they've got 2 games left. If they don't win game 3, I think you can be as experimental as you want. Like,
I'd full on trust in Brad Stevens though to
yeah,
make that
it
call.
is hard to
Yeah.
say. He hasn't been a great coach this series, but that's just a couple of small decisions that I would have made different. But I'm not an NBA coach, and I've never been in that position that
Really?
he's in. He's obviously so much more
Wait, what
basketball
about-
smarter than me.
What about 2015? Didn't you have a little stint at
Yeah, I thought you were a
Orlando
coach.
at the Magic?
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, I was.
I remember those photos from Disneyland. I thought that's why you were on your coaching job. You had a little.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, that was supposed to be a secret. I actually coached Aaron Gordon to the dunk contest championship. Don't even know if that was the right year.
But if
Probably
we're
not.
talking about like 2 similar teams and you want to go, want to bet on the coach, you would go Spo.
He's got the run.
I
from the
love
board.
Brad Stevens.
As much as as much as I like Brad Stevens, Spo's got the run
I'd
from
go
the
Spo.
board. Like he's
Yeah.
2 titles.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like I've got to say Brad Stevens because I'm a Boston fan, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Go
It's,
Brad.
and it's the thing with Tice too. The thing that I love Steve Kerr is that if he has a player who's not as good, clearly not as good, on the floor, the first 5 plays are always going through the shit player every single time
Yeah.
to get them involved. And you know what? Within those 5 plays, if that play is going to be good the game or not. Then you can choose to get him off. He did it with JaVale McGee when he played for Warriors, and he does it for, Zaza Pachulia when Zaza played there. And he did it this year a lot for Willie Cauley-Stein and then Marquise Chris. And Marquise Chris has worked out really, really well. I'm happy about that. But I think that's where Brad Stevens needs to go the first few possessions. Once again, don't get too experimental because it's too late now to be experimental. But
Yeah, they're 2 games away from elimination. You got
something they could have
They
done.
were 2 close games. That's what you got to remember as well. They were 2 close games, so they've got to they're not. You can't go and say Boston are out of it because they're down 2-0. Because then they were so close to winning both those games.
The
This
big
close
thing
to being
for me,
double
though,
overtime.
is I just don't see they'd want to win the next 2 games. I just don't see Miami letting them win more than 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Um,
So Spoelstra gets $120,000 every time that Miami wins a playoff game, or every time that Miami
Why
wins a game.
is that just in his contract?
That's in his contract, yeah.
Pat Riley is a G. That's awesome.
yeah.
What a sick thing to have in your contract.
Miami's record when up 2-0 in the playoffs is 16-0. That's
Shit.
Boston would have to win the next 2 games, like at least.
Yeah,
Again,
100%.
we know that Boston have some offensive weapons, and if they're down 3-1, I'm not going to count them out of it because we've seen the last few years that a 3-1 lead is not a safe lead anymore in the NBA.
Yeah.
You need to win 4, but they've got to win the next 2, I think.
I agree. That was dead set the game today, though.
Yeah, it's a Lakers big 3.
That's why I thought that the Clippers were going to win, to be honest. But
Can we that's just still insane to me.
Yeah. Do you want?
Yeah. Sorry.
We'll probably touch on that a little bit with the All NBA teams. Actually.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Before we
Should we move
move
on to
on,
that now?
do we want to just rattle out predictions?
Oh yeah.
oh.
Connor, get your phone out. It's prediction time.
So I'll just
ready,
quickly
Connor.
run through what everyone said.
Oh,
Guys,
wait, we already did
predictions.
predictions, didn't we?
Oh,
Yeah,
did we?
So
Yeah.
last week Chinnick said Celtics in 6.
Ah, true.
Brad said Chinnick Brad said Celtics in 7. Mitch said Celtics in 6. Lockie said Heat in 6, and I said Heat in 7.
I don't know why I bet against Connor. He's getting them all right.
Still all on track for now, but
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah.
Everyone's still a chance.
Everyone's still a chance.
if Celtics win tomorrow, Lockie's out of it. But
Did you say Heat and 4, Lucky?
He said Heat in 6.
oh no, he would
no, he's
still be
not.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I talking about? Yeah.
Yeah,
Such an
so
idiot.
that's what everyone said. Is anyone thinking anything different now?
I'm going to stick with it.
What did I say? Boston in 6.
You You said Heat in 6, yeah. Oh, you said Celtics in 6, yeah.
I'm not going to change what I said.
They can still do it.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
Still possible.
It'll probably be 7, but I'm not going to change what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you want to move on to all NBA? That's
Let's
Yes,
do it.
sir.
Yep.
Let's just
Get
briefly touch
up.
on that. We've got more to say about MVP, I think, but
I am happy with. I'm happy because Ben Simmons is one of my favorite players, and he got All NBA. Jimmy
Yep.
Butler, another one of my favorite players, All NBA. They were both third team, those two.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum was also third team.
Yeah.
I like Jason Tatum as well.
And deserved this year.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
AD too high,
Yeah.
as per usual.
as
I
per
think-
usual.
Who was it? There was
Russell Westbrook. Do we think he should have been All NBA? He was third this year.
So Chris Middleton had more votes than Russell Westbrook because he got them as a forward. He didn't get in over Westbrook.
I'm trying to find
Oh,
complete
yeah,
teams.
that makes
That's a
sense.
pretty bad way to get in, like to miss out. I think is the
Yeah.
fact that you had more votes than a guy, but because you're a different position.
So what were the first teams?
First,
So-
you had Harden,
That was a
Doncic.
third team. Oh no, sorry, I thought you said Westbrook.
No,
Sorry.
first team, sorry.
First.
Third team: Harden, Doncic, Giannis. Yeah, Harden, Doncic, Giannis, LeBron, AD.
So Jokic instead of AD, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he got second team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
I'd
that's
put
the
Jokic
big.
up.
AD had 455 votes, and Jokic had 311. So
Nah, that's too big
Nah.
of a gap. That's shit.
Because you
Huge.
just putting it in the mindset of you switch Jokic and AD,
yeah,
massive difference, right?
I'd prefer that team.
LeBron
Amazing.
and Giannis both unanimous first team.
yeah,
Which-
perfect scores.
Not against that.
You like
Yeah.
that?
I can't complain about that one either.
Yep.
Second team was Kawhi, Jokic, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, and Pascal Siakam.
I
Not
reckon
actually
the
against
best
that
one in
either.
there, Pascal Siakam in the second team is awesome.
He got
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
first
that's
team vote
good.
as well.
Because
Um,
I still had Siakam
And
really
then we
high
got
on
the
my
third
MVP
team,
list.
Tatum, Butler. Yeah, I think he was actually pretty high on the MVP voting as well because he probably was like one of the most valuable players for what's it called? Toronto.
Yeah.
But here we
Yep.
go. This is the third team. Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, and Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook probably shouldn't have gone in. I would have put Beal over Westbrook.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
so-
a pretty good pick.
So
Beal
that's-
was
Bill
Bill
averaged,
was
like,
the top
24
guard.
votes down.
Bill averaged like 30 points, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what
30
I'm
and
saying. He's
6
30 points on
assists.
a fucking injury-riddled team. And Westbrook was second fiddle and a really inconsistent one. So I don't get that one.
So both Simmons and Westbrook, they had less votes than Chris Middleton and Joel Embiid, but because they're different positions, like you can see, Embiid doesn't really fit in that because of the
Yeah.
thing. But Middleton could easily slide down to a guard position, and you could take out either of those guys, and you'd still be.
Yeah.
So what's that? That's like three things that I'm a bit iffy about. So that means there's, 12 players that are probably where they should be, and then
Yeah.
3 that should be slotted somewhere else. So that's pretty good, apart from probably Westbrook, AD, and Jokic probably should go higher,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
I was gonna
That's
say,
me though.
yeah, are we all pretty happy with Gobert there? I'm not against
I'm
that. I
not.
just know that some people
Yeah.
can be a bit
This
iffy with him.
playoffs just changed my mind a little bit on Gobert
What the
because he was fucking brilliant.
Gobert got a first team vote.
Who did?
Rudy Gobert got a single first team vote. Someone put him in their All NBA first team. What is
What?
going on?
Okay, I wouldn't call it that high. Like that.
Three
not
people
that
put
high.
Embiid in their first team.
Did we also, while we're here, do we want to mention the all rookie teams really quick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm really happy
I
with
can just
these.
rattle them off really quick.
Rattle
if you
them
want.
off.
So you had
Yeah,
Ja
do it.
Morant, who was unanimous, which is fair. Kendrick Nunn, Brandon Clark, Zion Williamson, and Eric Pascal.
Pascal, let's go.
Yep.
He was really
and
good.
Then
Oh.
next up, you had Tyler Hero, Terrence Davis II, Kobe White, PJ Washington Jr., and Rui Hachimura. And there's only the two.
They've only
teams.
got 2.
Yeah.
They've only got 2 these ones.
I think if you included the playoffs, Hero would definitely be in the first team. But he did miss a few he missed a chunk of the regular season because he hurt his knee and his ankle, I think. But I'm okay with him not being in the first team.
Yeah.
He wasn't like he wasn't their best rookie in the regular season.
Yeah.
It was Kendrick Nunn was our best rookie by far in the regular season.
But yeah, good on him. We love rookies.
Oh,
Love the
yeah.
young pups. And Pascal, can I just touch on him? He's Draymond who can score.
I did not
He's
realize
gotta
that he was a
be-
rookie. My dumb brain just didn't click that he was actually a rookie,
No,
which is
man,
awesome.
he's Villanova
Yeah,
alumni, and he's
awesome.
like
Yeah, next
Oh,
season, man, he'll be so good
so
off the
excited.
bench for the Warriors.
yeah, and he makes me scared because I think if we want to pull off this draft pick,
yeah,
bait and switch, it's Wiggins and probably Pascal. Yeah, it's a bit scary.
It's not really unrelated because we're talking about Pascal anyway. But Siakam and Simmons both get more money on their contract now because of this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So Siakam's 4-year contract goes up from 122 mil to 136, and then
Oh, good on
Simmons
him.
goes
That's a
up
big chunk.
huge, and then Simmons' 5-year contract goes up from 158 to 177. So that's
That's
big.
massive.
That's a big
That's
jump.
just
for
for
Wiggins.
being on the
third thing.
second and third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you get a
Perfectly
jump of
traded for Wiggins.
Can I just
what,
say,
$4 million a year? It's pretty good.
before we move off of the rookies, I'm so proud of my boy Kobe White for making the second team, man.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
I'm serious when I say this. If he started all year, his
He
rookie
could,
of the year,
yeah, rookie,
not
or he
even-
could, he would have definitely been first rookie, like all rookie
First
team. He would have
team,
been the
yeah.
first team, yeah.
Yeah.
If only they had a decent coach. You know?
If only they didn't have fucking
If
egghead
only he
Hoyland.
didn't play for the Bulls. Probably
his
would have been
last
fine.
what was
Yeah.
it? His last 12 games or something. He's averaging 26 and 10
Yeah, what the
assists or some shit.
fuck?
That's insane.
So yeah,
He's a
I'm so happy
baller.
for him, bro.
Also, someone that I really like, Rui Hachimura. I'm glad he made second team. He just seems like a good dude that can ball
Yeah,
out.
reliable as well.
yeah.
Rui
Yeah.
Hachimura.
Had a
Yeah.
double-double in his NBA debut as well, Hachimura.
Yeah,
We
no,
like
he
that.
One of the
Really
first
good.
Japanese players that are killing it.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
like him a lot. So do you want to talk about MVP now?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So
Giannis.
LeBron James, the MVP. Yeah.
Not my MVP.
Giannis.
Not my
Surprise,
president.
surprise.
I don't
Giannis
know.
won.
Why
He won-
people are complaining so much?
Landslide.
So like the gap between LeBron and Giannis in the voting doesn't represent how close it was, but like it does at the same time.
That's,
Giannis was
that's
a
what
clear-
everyone's issue is, isn't it? It's the big gap between the two, not the
Yeah,
fact that
so-
Giannis got it. Is that right?
like Giannis is
Some simps.
Some people,
obviously as like,
LeBron himself.
yeah, but you got to
Um,
be like that. You got to think you're the best player in the
Oh,
world.
100%. You got to
Michael
back
Jordan
Jordan
mindset.
thought that.
Do you have to have
But
a
don't
cry
think-
about it on a press
Don't
conference?
think you're gonna be the best player in the world and do every time a
Yeah.
45 kilo bloke runs to you and,
But
then
like that's
complain
the
after the
mindset
game.
you've got to have if you're playing at that
Yeah,
level.
well, Jordan did that when Carmelo, the kitty toucher, won MVP, and then he played
Kitty
against him in the
toucher.
finals.
it's the way he spoke about it just kind of like pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's like you have to have that mindset, but like someone asked him like, "Oh, do you think he deserved it?" And he said, "Oh, I think." He basically said like, "Oh, I deserve it more than him." He said the
Bullshit.
criteria these days is like so different. Like I'm not
Yeah,
going
he
to
was
say it's
talking
bad,
more about the
but it
narrative,
is.
I think.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of came across like, I don't know. He didn't even say like, you expect him to say all of that and then be like, well, good on him. Like he deserves it. Like he didn't even say that. He was just like, oh, I think like the
Yeah.
system's changing and like, it's not really like, I don't know what the criteria
He's
is
got a point.
anymore.
He has got a
But,
point
like-
though. Russell Westbrook should not have won an MVP just because he had a triple double.
not at all.
No, but
Not at
He's
all.
got a point there. And then James Harden, the year that James Harden won it, I think he should have won it the year before. I think
And
it was, or
was
was
it-
it the
was
year
it-
after? I don't know. There was a year that he shouldn't have won it, but he should have won it a different year. It might have
Yeah.
been Westbrook's year. Might have been
Westbrook's year,
that
Harden should have won it,
Yeah,
and Harden's year would have been who
I
should have
think
won it? Then?
LeBron should have won
Probably
it in
LeBron
Harden's
should
year
have won it.
because he took that was. I think that was the 2018 Cavs, which were woeful. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I think why you've definitely got to give it to Giannis, and I think I was saying this to the boys, the quality of teammates that he had and still became a first seed to LeBron had all the weapons and
Yeah.
typically just became a first seed. His second player that he can feed off is a lot better than Giannis's by a mile.
Yeah.
And like, think of it this way: LeBron is an amazing player, right? But the Lakers coach doesn't run plays specifically for just LeBron. Whereas
Yeah.
the Bucks, they have to rely on Giannis, and he makes it work big time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like-
he is the difference between them winning and losing because
like
as you
you
can
look
see,
at it, like you take out Giannis and you take out LeBron. Like that's the way that I look at it.
yeah, but like the teams that AD led were struggled to make the playoffs, and 8 seed they got swept by Portland.
Yeah, but I think the Lakers are
Like it.
better than the Bucks are. Like,
Yeah.
if you take
Yeah.
LeBron out, Lakers will be better than Bucks without Giannis.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's only like just the way that it's hard to say. Like they're in different conferences as well. If the Bucks are in the West, they would be a playoff team without Giannis. I think that's pretty easy to say. But in the East, they're probably still a 6 or 7 seed without Giannis. And then same the other way around.
I
I
don't
mean,
reckon
like-
a Chris Middleton team's leading.
I was going to say, I was just thinking that. I don't think
A
Chris
playoff
Middleton
spot.
can lead them that far.
Who are they? Like who's better than them if they like you've obviously got the 3 teams that were left and Indiana as well. Like so you got the Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana. Obviously now you got Brooklyn coming in, but exclude Brooklyn for this year because they
A proper Wizards is also really nice looking as well.
yeah, but again they
No,
were
talking
like,
this year though.
Oh,
this year.
yeah.
So this year,
What teams were in the like the play-in thing?
So in the East they didn't really have any play necessary because the
It was
Wizards were that
pretty
far
well.
away.
Yeah.
But they had Orlando, and Brooklyn. Those were the 2 like closest really, and then Philly as well.
Yeah.
I think Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana, and Philly probably go above Milwaukee without Giannis, and then I'd say they're probably 6,
7.
7,
Oh no, 6. Yeah.
6. Yeah, they're 6. I reckon they're somewhere between. They're around the mark that
Yeah.
Orlando and Brooklyn are. Like they're around that. They're probably a sub 500, like just sub 500, but that's good enough to get you into the playoffs in the East.
All right.
Like
This might be a big take, but an example, right? So just this playoffs, right? Magic versus the Bucks. The one game that Giannis has an off night and then he's taken off the court because they think they're going to win. Magic takes the win.
Yeah. Jeez.
well,
I
there's-
think that what that is though is when you, and this is a little bit of biased thinking, but if you take off Giannis, all your game plan is gone. So then you've got to be a coach and scramble. How am I going to play Middleton now? How am I going to play this and that now? And that worked into their advantage at the end of the game. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Crowder.
this dude locked up Giannis because he couldn't get past him. That, like
Connor
the
Herzl.
one thing that I think that like
He's the secret.
maybe Giannis was hurt the whole series because Jay Crowder was keeping in front of him, like keeping Giannis in front of him. And if you turn Giannis into a jump shooter, Milwaukee suck.
He's not. Yeah.
Like that because
I
they're
don't
still
know.
going to run all their
I
plays
think it's
through
still
him, that's
really,
why.
really close between LeBron and Giannis. I don't think the points
Yeah, I think
display that.
and I think the one person who voted James Harden as second place ahead of LeBron is a dumbass, and they shouldn't vote ever again. So
There are some people who should not be allowed to vote.
yeah,
Oh.
Ramona Shelburne.
Dude.
Dude.
Anyone who voted for Westbrook.
So
That's
yeah,
the worst form voting's ever been in.
yeah.
that year.
So it's clearly LeBron and Giannis the top 2. The one person who voted Harden as second over LeBron, like LeBron got 1 third place vote, and that was Harden in second place. I don't know what the hell is going on there. But Harden, I think Harden deserves 3rd, and then Luka was 4th, and who I think Jokic.
See,
was
I would have Luka 3rd,
Yeah, that's fair as well.
and then I have Jokic 4th.
Yeah, but they are close though.
Yeah, that's a close. It's a close
Any switch
mid-race.
around between those
Who's-
3 players is a fair call.
Who was third again? Who's third
Yeah.
again? Sorry.
Harden
was 3rd. Luka
I would
was
have put-
fourth.
I think that
Oh,
third
sorry.
position just comes down to
Oh wow, no,
wins.
Jokic was not 5th. He was a lot further down.
He should have been.
Kawhi was 5th. AD was 6th. Chris Paul
Not regular
was 7th.
season Kawhi.
Chris Paul was 7th, and I don't mind Chris Paul being that high.
Yeah.
He was
100%.
really.
Um,
Dame Lillard was 8. Jokic was 9. And then I'm just going to run through the last 3 because there's 3 more. Siakam was 10. Jimmy Butler was 11. And Jason Tatum got 1 5th place vote. Give him 1 total vote in the MVP thing.
Well
Give
done
himself
though.
12
That's a
12
big
spot.
thing.
100%.
Yeah,
And
Still big.
deserved. I'm
Someone
not
thought he
against
was the
that.
fifth best player in the league this year, and that's
I'm
And he's
not-
still
there.
so young too. So
yeah.
I think
he's
he should
gonna
have
run
been
the league one day.
first best player, but that's all right.
unanimous
Give him 2
MVP.
years, Mitch. Give him 2.
Giannis.
Oh no.
Maybe Zion. I don't know about Zion yet. It's too early to call. But he did look good in his 19 regular season games. But
Yeah.
Tatum, Giannis, Luka are going to run the league. They're going to have some. I hope it doesn't end
Donovan
up being
Mitchell.
a LeBron and Kobe. I hope it doesn't end up being a LeBron and Kobe. They never match up in the finals. I hope we get a Tatum and Boston versus Luka and Dallas.
I'll never forget
Finals
Yeah.
one
for
day.
that.
That'll be
That would be nice.
the
dream.
matchup that we never got in Brad's fucking photo. That's the one thing that the NBA missed was that matchup, and that's actually a pretty good assessment actually. So like Luka, you can compare Luka to LeBron, like a small forward who can run the point, and then
Yeah.
Tatum is. I'm not gonna say he's Kobe reincarnate because that he's a bit too soon to say he's that good, but he's got those.
Kobe didn't shine until his 3rd or 4th year.
Yeah, he's got the
Really?
shades of that. You know,
Dude.
he's got the
Oh, he did. Kobe was an all-star at 19.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Insane.
Cool. Shall we move on to our
So everyone's favorite segment.
everyone's favorite segment?
Run the tune.
Okay, so this
Play
is
that
an interesting
picture
week.
there.
Now I am going to do one for the Boston game because the markets aren't up for the Lakers game yet. And I think this will be uploaded after the Boston game, right? So just use
Yep.
it for the next one. You'll be right because it'll get up this game and then it'll get up again. But I've got 2 little ones for you that are paying massive odds. This is a 3-leg multi. You got Tyler Hero to get over 14.5, Duncan Robinson to get over 14.5, and Jaylen Brown to get over 24.5. And that's paying $34,
Whoa!
right? Throwing
That's a
money
lot of
away.
bucks.
Put the
All right,
house on
opening
it,
up Ned's now.
right? Then the bigger one that's still at pretty good odds. So you got over 205 points, Jason Tatum over 20, Jaylen Brown over 20, Goran Dragic over 18, Jimmy Butler over 18, Tyler Hero over 10, Duncan Robinson over 8, Bam Adebayo over 8 boards, Kemba over 4 assists, and Goran Dragic over 4 assists. So all pretty basic numbers for them all to get. The only thing that would sort of stop that is if Jimmy Butler has a quiet game like he did today. Brad, please stop clicking your thumb. That is
Stop doing that.
take
I
my
don't know why you have to
strong
do that.
hand. But yeah, so that's the Mitch's multis. Another little 3-leggers over 205, and Jalen and Jason Tatum to both have 25 points. It's paying $10 for 3 legs. But yeah, I think that's a pretty easy week for that one. Hopefully, I don't have another Mitch's multis that loses by 1 leg because I think that's 2 or 3 in a row that it's done.
Devastating.
It's
not a
yeah,
good track
Losing
record to
multis by
have.
1 leg. Never heard of it.
never, mate, could not be
Barely
me.
nowhere.
But yeah, I reckon with that we move on to players to watch.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Now I think
Let's
Chick,
rattle
you
off
should
our
start
players
us
to
off.
watch. Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't really have one because I don't really know the
Look-
players that are left that well. I'm going to say Jason Tatum
Nice.
Mhm.
just because I've liked what I've seen so far, and I think I've said it like 3 weeks in a row, but I still don't really know the Celtics that well.
You will.
And
You will.
I'm liking this series so far, even though they've lost 2. I'm enjoying watching them. They're a good team to watch, and I think Jason Tatum is doing something right. He just needs to do a little bit more right so that they win. But I'll chuck it over to Herzl because he's in the top left corner of my screen.
All right, so I think everyone knows where I'm going to go with this one. I called it before.
Here we go.
It didn't quite get up. It was close. Goran Dragic. He is the
What game's he
series
scoring 30?
leading
Call
scorer.
it now.
Gorn Dragic.
You've written Goran there, Mitch.
Sorry, I'm
but
just eating
okay.
the spaghetti out of my brain.
So yeah, Dragic. He is Miami's leading scorer this playoffs. He is the leading scorer for this series. For the Boston Miami series. He's gone at 27 points per game.
You're about to see a drop off with it, Herzl. I can.
He's gonna have a drop off. He's not gonna
It's coming tomorrow.
Not gonna score you.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the
score
day.
you 20. He can score you 20 a game.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
be honest, 30 a game was ambitious.
I'll tell you what, I really hope he keeps going because when he's scoring, he's actually really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had 2 big jump shots. Both of them. Guess who was defending him in the last few minutes of the game?
Marcus Smarty.
No.
Oh,
They got a screen.
don't you say...
They did a switch. It was a big white
Tice.
German dude. It was Daniel Tice.
Dude.
2
And-
massive jump shots. hit
Who's
on him.
next?
Miami
He's
loves
6'10".
when.
Stick your hands in the air, mate.
All right, player to watch,
Dome,
Kelly
then Dragic can
Olynyk.
keep winning.
Oh god.
The
Miami
better
loves when
European
Goran Dragic has the ball as well.
The best
Yeah,
European
right.
player in the league.
Still
Hmm.
in.
Now that's
All right,
a
Lockie,
spaghetti
who's your
crab.
player to watch? Go on.
All right. Well, look. I'm going with a Lakers player. He was a really good
shit.
backup scorer that game, and he was, in my opinion, the only enjoyable. Not the only, but the most enjoyable player to watch that game. I'm going with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
KCP.
Yes,
He
sir.
was
And that's a
good
risky one as
three-pointer.
well because we've seen him come out and drop 4 points.
Exactly. But look, he matched up pretty well against the Lakers defense in that game. So I reckon he's going to be at the very least a good backup scorer for the Lakers in this series.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
totally.
How did he match up against the Lakers defense? Is that great? That's
I meant the Nuggets.
whack,
I'm
bro.
with it. I like that.
Crazy.
Handball it off, Stockton.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell.
Ooh. Okay, now
Ooh.
I'm going with a little bit of an outsider here as well, and I'm not picking him for his scoring ability.
Daniel
'cause
Tice.
he probably won't score more than 8 points, which is Daniel. It's going to be Jeremy Grant
Oh.
from the Nuggets
That's
Ooh.
what I was gonna say.
because I think
Going
he's
with a bit of a
I think-
cold turkey
think he's
here.
the
No
best-
one else is going to say it.
I think he's the best matchup for LeBron, and even a good matchup against AD. But he just moves well defensively, and he's playing really smart. So at least in the game today and the previous one. So I think he'll be the one to watch, just in terms of trying to slow LeBron down. But yeah, again, I don't think he probably won't have more than 12 points, but he'll give you some boards, and he's got a really good defensive mind. So yeah, Brad, is that what you were going to say? Is that who you were
That's what I was gonna say. Because he's going to be the difference between containing LeBron and LeBron going off
Right.
at 30, 15, and 15.
And he's the only one on Nuggets who will actually slow him down.
Yeah, I can't see
Yeah.
anyone else.
But that doesn't count, Brad. You got to give someone else.
All right, well then I'm going to go with it. I'm going to keep rolling because he was a bit quiet today. Gary Harris
Yeah,
again. I'm going to go keep rolling.
you're
with
going to
it
keep
because he
watching
was-
him,
If
I'm
they
going to keep watching him.
Creep.
if
I'm
he
really
keep
enjoying watching
intercepting
him.
the lanes,
right?
like he was
Tipping
doing against the Clippers, he does that really well. Just like Jimmy Butler does really well. He reads the lanes really well, Gary Harris.
His hustle, man.
And
He's
if
one
you
of the
can
best
read
on the
lanes
Nuggets.
well, that's where you get
Then
the
you're
most
going to be
fast
a
break
good
points.
driver.
Yeah, that's how you get the most fast break points is by picking the lanes off.
My
I
player to
can't
watch
read,
is
that's
Adam
why I can't
Silver.
drive.
Good
I
call.
really, really hope that the refs are better.
Yeah, me too.
You've got to hope.
Because it's like it'll be such an enjoyable series to watch if the calls aren't so just out of nowhere, crazy, weird, horrible.
Yeah, exactly. If it's consistent, it'll be right. But yeah, does anyone have any closing remarks?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Go
Then
Boston.
how good was this block? There were some calls. That it was
All
the
right,
greatest
on that
playoff
note,
block of
thanks
all
for
time.
listening to the NBeanA podcast.
I love Miami, but this
Herzl,
is
do you
not
have a
the
joke?
greatest.
Herzl, do you have a
This
joke?
Okay. Goran Dragic is a bad player. No, I don't have a joke. Nope, no joke. Except
You're
for
You
shit.
got to
mate.
have a joke.
What did one bean say to the other bean?
What did they
How
say?
you been?
All right,
Fuck
can we?
me, we just lost all
Fucking
our
hate you.
viewers.
Honestly, we only had 2, and they're all gone.
But this block,
Thanks.
Magic Johnson said it was the best playoff block of all time. I mean,
Yeah, I
there's
agree.
maybe-
Good. Yep. Good.
I don't know. Do you guys think maybe
that's it.
someone?
I think it's
maybe
done.
All right, awesome.
Might
All
have-
right, thanks for listening to the
Might have game
NBeanA
7 gonna be our block like
podcast.
that. We
If you're
love
still
Bam.
here, which we
love
hope
Bam.
you are, if you're still here, thanks for listening.
Send us
make
some
sure you check
questions. We'd love to answer.
I've got a
them.
Go
joke.
check out
Yes.
the Brain Dead Brothers.
I've got a
Check out
joke.
our socials. Okay, Mitch has
We
a joke.
cannot allow this year to end. That would be admitting that 2021
Oh.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Alright,
now.
how do I leave
How
a
do you-
Zoom call? Does anyone know? I do that because I don't want to be here anymore.
Is that it?